Hey there, this is Perch, and we're doing a review of Cell by Stephen King. Now, Cell is an apocalyptic horror story, and basically the idea is that one day a mysterious signal gets broadcast over all the phones and the technology that turns humans into vicious, mindless animals. So this is actually made into a movie with John Cusack, I believe, and Nick Fury and Samuel Jackson. And it was, well, hang on a second. No. Oh, we're talking. This is DCeased. Sorry. Okay, I'm on the wrong track. It is one of those days. So many comics. I'm very confused. Okay, it's DCeased. DCeased is the new comic by Tom Taylor and kind of a few different artists. And basically, it is the apocalyptic horror story of a mysterious signal that's broadcast over phones and technology that turns humans into vicious, mindless animals. Um, I've read this story before. That's why I was confused. I read it before. There you go. No, but sorry, in all seriousness, um, this is DC's version of Marvel Zombies, except it's really not like Marvel Zombies at all. And this comic is interesting because it has a couple different artists. Trevor Hairsign and Stefano Godano. I look. The way I'm going to dox myself is that I butcher names, and if somebody will be listening to this. It's like, oh, it's that jerk who butchers names at the conventions. Anyway, this is a let's call it an Elseworld story, for lack of a better term. It's not set in current continuity. It's not going to mess up any of the current storylines. The Justice League in this case has Black Lightning and Hal Jordan on it, and Green Arrow and Nightwing. So it's a different world doing different things, but very similar to the one that's currently running in comics. I mean, so similar that if you didn't look close, you might not notice, and if you're a customer coming in, you might think this is the new event that's going on tied into You're the Villain. It's not. It has nothing to do with those things. It's just a good old fashioned kind of zombie horror story um, that really talks about a mysterious signal being broadcast over telephones and other parts of technology that turns majority of humans into vicious, mindless animals. Um, it starts out really nice. I think we've got a really nice sequence here at the beginning with the Justice League stopping Darkseid, and he retreats back to Apocalypse, but he has kind of an ominous statement. And then we get into a couple pages of Batman being Batman. In all seriousness, yes, Batman spies on his fellow superheroes. Oh, there's some ethical dilemmas around that, and it irritates them, and all the rest. But can we pause? I mean, good lord, it's played out at this point. It really is. We know that Batman's tracking somebody in the Justice League. Usually the Flash. I don't know, for whatever reason, the Flash is like, "Hey, wait a minute, you're spying on us," and then Batman's kind of dodgy about it, and I mean, enough. We get it. Okay. Either at some point, I want the Justice League to either snap and just backhand Batman and say, "You do this again, I'm gonna fry you with this heat vision," or just let it go. He's gonna Batman's gonna Batman. Anyway, so this flips us back to Apocalypse and a new artist, which is somewhat jarring. It's funny because this first artist really has a Brian Hitch kind of style, and it's dark and gritty, and it looks pretty good when we're seeing it. We get to the next artist, which is a little bit more cartoonish. The body proportions are a little wacky, and it kind of has the unfortunate problem as well of we get into some dialogue from Cyborg where he's being snarky. He's like, "Why do gods always need people to suck up to them?" And it's banter, but we kind of lightened the art style and the dialogue kind of at the same point. And then Cyborg has kind of he says no, and then he says, "I try not to kink shame anyone," and then he makes a joke about the Almighty, and then he's making a joke about Darkseid's entrance, and it's like, is this the Cyborg from the Teen Titans cartoon, or what's going on here? It's a little weird. And then basically, Darkseid is going to try and kind of bring the anti-life equation together, and he needs part of it from Cyborg, and he summons the Black Racer to do this, and then that basically injects death into the anti-life equation, which proceeds to drive Apocalypse, to drive Darkseid crazy to the point that he blows up Apocalypse, and it's nightmarish. Meanwhile, um, Cyborg goes back to Earth and gets right onto the 5G network. Thank you, AT&T, and it immediately infects everyone around him. So the plot here is really just that the internet and spread through social media. The disease infects all who sees it. Which let's try not to make that an analogy about anything, but whatever. But then we basically get the plot of Cell. So there we go, and everybody who sees the phone is being murdered, and then people kind of figure this out, and we almost get infection with John Kent, and then Superman saves him, but meanwhile people are getting infected. Batman's in the Batcave, and the Batcave, even though he sprang to action quickly, it's got old Rick Grayson, old Nightwing, has been infected, and they're both somehow Alfred got away from these guys, but Batman immediately just gets destroyed by a torn up guy, and then Batman's bit in the neck, and we're getting a zombie story. So all that's fine. Zombie stories, there's been a lot of them. So I don't know how it's probably pretty difficult to get to a new zombie story at this stage in the game. So if you read this, is this comic for you? Well, if you like zombie stories, if you like kind of the horror aspect of a bunch of DC heroes turning on each other, we haven't really seen yet if the disease will spread through biting. If it's got typical zombie rules, or if this is a tech-only disease spreading thing. Are the zombies gonna make their victims look at Instagram? Is that happening, or is it just just straight up murder? So how's that all gonna go? Anyway, this is a limited series that's going to go on. It's, as I said, it's their version of Marvel Zombies. It'll sell well because people like these kinds of Elseworld horror kind of stories. Ultimately, doesn't mean anything to the real Marvel universe. Who knows? Maybe it will cross over with Mortal Kombat someday, or maybe Street Fighter. Maybe Street Fighter needs a good property to mash up with. I guess they have. So there you go. Is this comic for you? If you like if you like zombie horror stories, you don't really want to think too much about it. The Walking Dead's too much blah, 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 not enough, biting and blood and stuff, then this is probably for you. If you've wanted to see the DC heroes in the Marvel Zombies kind of situation, then this story's for you. If you're looking for something that's really going to tie into continuity and matter to the, the bigger DC universe, this is not for you. If the title sells well, then it'll be extended, way past its expiration date, and then at some point there will be like an annual where the DC heroes will hop into the DCeased multiverse, and then they'll have a little adventure with some unexpected heroes that have survived. That's kind of where this all winds up. It's not a bad book. It's just it's one for me personally, it's one I've seen before. Completely, it is Cell. It is the plot of Cell, and it's some other things. Tom Taylor, he does a fine job. I mean, there's, it's neither here nor there. It's a by the numbers story. I don't know if this kind of story is giving you chills, and it's like, I saw some people going, no, this comic is really creepy. It's going to leave me with nightmares. Man, don't watch TV. You're not ready for Game of Thrones. You're not ready for Walking Dead. You're not ready for so many things. If that's you, don't let that be you. But it's fine. The only part that really irked me in the book was Cyborg's. It's this very serious situation. Cyborg's, like cracking little jokes at Darkseid, and then then he's dumped on. And that brief period where we had a different artist, it made that scene just really, really jarring, personally. But hey, your mileage may vary. Maybe this is a Cyborg you like. But for me, that part just stood out, like tonally did not fit the book. And it's supposed to be the kind of the yucks before the real horror begins. So you kind of reinforce the horror, but it played off weird. It didn't play off like Cyborg's normal character or what they've done with him. Again, unless you're talking about the Teen Titans version, in which case, okay. Anyway, there you go. Check it out. It's in stores now. And hey, maybe it's for you. If it's for you, good news. There will be a few more of these, and I'm sure lots of people are going to get killed, which is what we all wake up for. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Did you like the book? Do you want to see the book? And tell a friend. Thanks for listening.